All right, here we go. A beautiful February day. This may come out in March. Super excited to have another guest here in our community, Erin Darling. This is The Vital Wire. All right, Erin.
Yeah.
Super excited to have you here. As we were talking off the air, we'll say, just getting to learn more about you. We've met before as we first moved to Cottleville, so we're super excited to have you back and just get to really learn a little bit more about you. Our whole goal here is to just continue to give people in our community exposure to other people in our community, whether they're business owners, professionals, whatever it might be. So we're grateful to have you here today. And really just want to start out with, tell us a little bit of your background. Where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? All those kinds of things. And just kind of lead us to a little bit of how you really got here today.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. This is exciting. So I grew up in Maryland Heights, so just across the bridge. Went to Pattonville High School. Everybody wants to know that question. And actually married. My husband and I went to the same high school.
Aww,
so with the last name like Darling, I always joke like
what a fun name to end up with.
Yeah, I had classes with him senior year finally, and just loved to say it. Hi, Nick Darling. I would say it all the time. And then we both went to Mizzou and dated right at the end of Mizzou. Just kind of happened to. So yeah, I live in St. Peter's, St. Charles area now, and I have two daughters, and one is almost 13.
Okay.
Oh my goodness,
which is a special time. And my other daughter will be 10 this summer, but they are great girls, just super different. So, but where I am today, I grew up, close by, like I said, and just was actually a super artistic kid. So I am a former art teacher. And so I was really into art, not so much into movement or health. So probably by about second grade, I was really heavy and pretty unhealthy, and really relied on food for comfort and connection, and created a really deep relationship, and food was just on a pedestal for me when I was really young. And so by the time I was about 8th grade, I kind of figured out that I wanted to be healthier. I mean, I knew it way before that, but started eating different and working out with one of my brothers, and I lost a lot of weight, and I got a lot of attention, and then I did all the wrong things for a long time and underate. So I've just kind of had this lifetime of not a positive relationship with food. And so, but fast forward to where I am now as a former teacher and then a stay-at-home mom, I went back for another master's in nutrition because it really is such a love. Yes, there is this art piece to me, but it's really not my love. I really like educating on food and really helping my clients navigate really what I navigated. I didn't, kind of long story short, but how I navigated where I am today in terms of a healthy relationship with food in my body.
There's a big difference between just love and enjoyment and passion.
Right.
And so I totally think I get what you're saying there. So you went, where'd you go to school?
I went to Mizzou.
Mizzou.
And Lindenwood and Logan. So I went to a few different colleges, but my first...
Very nice.
We went to 2 out of the 3 same schools.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So, yes,
one
but...
of them.
You went to one of them?
Yeah, I went to Lindenwood.
Yeah, I loved Lindenwood.
I did too.
But Mizzou was, my bachelor's degree. So, that was for art education, and I was an art teacher for 7 years.
That's what that was one of my questions on the front end here, was because when we were talking before we started here, you said you had 8 years of school. So I was kind of like,
Where did that come from? Yeah.
Well, I think this is a very, very important topic.
Yes.
I think this is very much underserved, underexposed.
Understated.
under-resourced. And so it's great to have somebody like you, kind of with the temperament and attitude. You're so just so uplifting and if I don't have any problem, it's like I almost want to just create one so I can work with you. But I don't think it takes that either. But I think it's super, super great that you are doing this because even not to steal the show here, but even from the student athlete side and the dancer side, she's a dance coach at St. Dominic. I see a lot of student athletes, and it's, sometimes it's not all about performance and what it can lead to. If it is like you said, there's an emotional tie. So I think this is just such a great thing, and hopefully people tune in. And if you have any questions, we'll get you in touch with Erin for sure. But so talk to us a little bit about then, what it is you do. Like let's unwrap Erin's business and what you love to do and your passion. What is it, and kind of how do you go about it?
Okay, so my business is called Mindset Nutrition, and the mindset piece is super important because I tell people it's not always about the weight, but more about the weight, pointing to my head right now. It's the mental weight more than the physical weight. So I work with clients, and since COVID, it's kind of exploded because this emotional eating piece has gotten really big. But I work with clients, my ideal person is somebody who has really battled this most of their life. They have been a chronic dieter. They're basically on and off. Food is either good or bad. They're starting over on Monday. They're so hard on themselves. And I basically reteach them how to take care of themselves, forever. Not so that they're trying to fit into a certain pair of jeans by Friday.
Right.
So that this just goes on and on. I tell them all the time, like, health and wellness is like walking down a path, and I'm visual as a former art teacher, so it's like the yellow brick road. Yeah. Sometimes you're going to step off of your path. Sometimes you're going to have cake at your kid's birthday party or a margarita on Friday and too many chips and salsa. But what you do is you step right back on your path. Like, you leave it over there. You leave the guilt and the shame over there because you're not going to be perfect and you're going to make mistakes. And then you get right back on your path. So that's a huge thing, and that's a very big mental roadblock we have to work through. But other than that, I'm teaching them how to actually eat. Yeah. So I have a lot of men I'm working with lately, but it's majority women. Yeah. And women chronically undereat. They're counting out 6 almonds. Yeah. They're grabbing a granola bar on the go, and then maybe they won't eat again for the whole rest of the day. Right. I had a client say, she's like, and then I come home and get all frat boy on my food, because they're just not, because they're just not stopping and they're not like fueling themselves. So I teach them how to build a plate that's going to last for like anywhere from 3 to 6 or more hours, so that they can just keep going with their life, whether they are running a business or running a household or whatever they're doing. They don't have to be constantly throwing snacks in their bag and just fueling themselves constantly. If we're eating what we need, the cravings reduce. Yes. We don't have our food brain isn't going all the time. We're just fueling our body with what it needs. And that's also like the ultimate self-love. Right. Like taking the time to stop and feed themselves. And I hear all the time, well, I just eat such and such because it's quick and I can get it over with. Right. And I'll say, well, what's the hurry? Well, there isn't one. I don't know. I'm retired and there isn't one, but yet I still eat like that. Like there's I'm not going to do anything to take time for myself. So it's just relearning the thoughts and learning how to eat long term. And then repeat, and building that accountability.
I think
that's so much.
We had this conversation on a topic that was so different, but you can find similarities. But I was thinking about this, and you just said it too, and it came to me. It's like time. I don't have time. It's time. And it's like, hang on. I literally just told her this issue. I'm sick of using time as a crutch. But what I'm finding now and hearing you talk about this, and again, being underserved, under-resourced, it's like, a lot of times it's not that we don't have time. It's that we don't have the resource.
Right.
Because we don't know what to do. So then all of a sudden the emotional side of it hits. It's like, man, I feel like I should know what to do and I don't, and this is overwhelming and now I don't have time to figure it out. No, you don't have the resource to help you. Because if you, like somebody look at Erin right here sitting in front of us, whatever I am trying to do, whatever you are trying to do, all we have to do is ask, what does it look like to work with you? How can I, that solves a big variable for time, because how many hours have you put in to learn this, Erin?
It's endless. It never, I mean, I'm the person on the beach with a thyroid book. I mean, I have really struggled to stop because it is a passion, because it is fascinating. But I'm also, yes, I am a resource, but I'm also encouraging them to also rely on themselves.
Yes.
The diet industry is built for repeat customers. What I do is I work with them 6 weeks every week, then 6 weeks every other week, and then once a month. I mean, we are spacing out. I'm pushing them out of the nest. They don't like that, but I'm like, you're not going to be talking to me every week forever. Like that's, and probably similar for you. Like you want them to get better, not keep relying on me and my coaching and my affirmations. I want those positive thoughts to come out of their own head, because when they do, they're way more effective coming from their own brain, you know? So I'm feeding it, then they have to start repeating it. But what I also help them realize is they also actually know like what they like, you know, like I put this on Instagram once, but if you don't think you know what you like or have complete control over your food, like try to feed a toddler a piece of broccoli or something, you know, a new vegetable that they don't like, and you'll see real quick that we have control and we do know what we want, you know. So we put a lot of the blame and excuses on, well, I didn't have time, or this was all that was available, or whatever. But if we really start tapping into what we like and what we don't like and what feels good, we actually know way more than we think we do. You know, it's just empowering people to realize like, oh, I can do this. You know?
I love everything about what you're saying, because as a dancer growing up, I mean, like, that's always been a thing for the dance community in general. Huge in studios and everything. Like, we're only ordering you this size costume. You got to fit in it. You know, those kind of things.
Like gives me like,
I know.
I know it.
Oh, wow, I felt that.
It's so phenomenal to hear that you deal with these kind of things, because I mean, I've had the eating disorders, I've had the issues with food, and the time excuse of, well, I'm just gonna buy popcorn for my dorm because it'll fill me up, and then I don't have to eat, and then it's only 15 calories. Like, I've had all of those things and all of those thoughts, and I lost the weight in the wrong ways. I kept the weight off in the wrong ways. Like, and to know that there's a resource other than just your own mind at first telling you, no, it's okay, that's going to be how you do it, and that's fine, because you can keep it off that way because you can sustain it. And like knowing that there are people like you out in this world that are here for people, not only girls, because yes, I like males go through this too, 100%. Like, but knowing that like I have somewhere to send maybe my girls, because I coach a dance team, that if I notice, because I know the signs, because I've dealt with it myself.
And that's a great point that I wanted to kind of bring out and announce this to, you know, whomever might be listening, watching, is this could be a great opportunity for maybe you don't necessarily have the issue, so to speak. I think you said it earlier. Everybody has some sort of relationship with it. If you want to dive into it, Erin's the gal to talk to. But if you do hold a coaching position or a classroom, or if you're in a scenario where this seems to be, Erin would be somebody to talk to, and I think would love to talk to you, to be on the lookout for things, but also too, how many coaches say, well, you know, you might not want to eat tonight so you can fit in that thing. It's like, you cannot say that. You cannot say that. But if you start to see these, or maybe you have a dancer or an athlete or a child, you know, or a friend, a sister, a mother, like that is struggling with something like this, you know, Erin, if that's something you're passionate about, like let her be the resource to tell you to what to look for, and also be able to be, you know, a resource for that person. I think having an idea and, you know, you being able to tell people like, here's some of the key words, and you kind of said it earlier, that people say, look out for this, and then if I can help, here's how I would do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do so much damage. Adults can do so much damage, and you know, if I were working with you, like, you know, some of that stuff you heard growing up, I mean, some of us are just a lot of us are living off of this programming from when we were young, and we really work together, my clients and I, to break that down. You know, well, who
it's
told?
almost on repeat.
It
your head,
is.
and you see the person saying,
Yeah, I'll say, well, who told you that? Well, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Well, why do you think you have to order that food because you have a coupon? You know, like, you know, I mean, that sounds silly, but these are messages that were delivered, you know, when they were young, and we're just still repeating it, you know, or we didn't have a lot of money growing up. I hear that a lot. And so I can buy whatever I want now as food, so I'm going to do it. Okay. Right, but you're not that little one anymore. You're not that little, you're not little, and yes, you can buy whatever you want, and just remind yourself that.
Yeah.
So there's no pressure. You don't have to rush out and get all the food. It's not going anywhere. It's okay, you know. And then that factors into all these other layers of, you know, solidifying these habits. You know, like, you know, just holistic wise, like all the other things we need to work on to keep these habits going. So
it can be real hard and real expensive to buy your health back.
yeah,
Very hard. So it's like,
true.
choose what you want to invest in, you know, and so, you know, in the resources, and don't let time and but be a factor, but, you know, utilize the resources, because you're so right. And it's so cool that you kind of break through those things and break down. I mean, I have some athletes that I've been working with on this side too, because some of them are told, you know, they have to make such a weight, you know, and a lot of them being football players, it's like this, you know, they get so, you know, the way sports are nowadays, it's like they have these categories. And I had this one athlete tell me, he's like, I'm putting chocolate syrup in my shakes in the morning, you know, whatever I can find. I'm eating Skittles and like M&Ms and Reese's
yeah.
Pieces.
And he doesn't know what to do.
He's like, I'm just trying to put on, they want me to put on weight, I'm putting on weight. And I was,
Right.
and you know, yes, they have so much expenditure and they have so much, you know, working out and the things they do, like, but at the same time, it's like, we got to use worthful calories, not empty calories. Like, there's a way to go about this.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I see it kind of firsthand, a little bit through your lens of like, holy cow, like, we got to do this a little differently, or how can I help you? What do you need to know?
Right. Well, and those athletes can do it the other way too. I mean, my high school boyfriend was a wrestler, so he taught me how to cut weight.
Yeah.
You know,
Counting
and then
the 6 almonds.
Yes, and I hung on to that for, you know, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yes.
Right. And I kind of glazed over that, but that's how one of the first steps to be able to heal out of my, you know, binging, restricting kind of cycle was right after I was married. And I just knew, it just makes me emotional, but that God was going to give me girls. I just knew I was going to get girls.
Yes.
And that,
I love that.
I wasn't going to mess them up.
No.
I knew that I needed to work on myself. I knew that I had to change the way that the way I approached everything in terms of food. I threw away this was before smartphones. I threw away all my calorie counting books and tracking books and diet books. I mean, I just got rid of it all, which was just such a relief, and just started focusing on long-term health and taking care of myself.
Yeah,
so,
that's amazing.
and I do have 2 girls. So, you know, and they're a blessing, because it was such a push to get myself to the next level of, you know,
What an amazing
long-term health.
example, though. You're
yeah,
setting for
I try. You know, I try. Motherhood is challenging, but
like-
you know,
God has a plan.
Yeah,
Make your
for
own plan,
sure.
he'll laugh at you.
Right.
But it's
Yes.
like, what a gift that is for them already, for you going through that. And I'm sure that time wasn't necessarily the most fun, but looking back now, hindsight's 2020, right?
Right.
And it's like, what a gift that they're getting in you, and that it's a ripple effect. And I talk about this all the time in the practice, or when I speak on other stages and things like that. It's like, if we can just make a ripple, and that ripple effect, you know, starting in your own home and having that tie, it's super cool, because they're going to eventually, you know, they're going to be asking somebody else the question, and they're going to say, tell me more.
right.
You know, and that's super cool that you've been able to already instill some of that.
Yeah, and they continue to be my why. They're my reason for getting my butt up at the crack of dawn to work out, and they're my reason for taking extra time to make a healthy lunch. I mean, because it all kind of starts falling apart.
Yeah.
When I'm not taking care of myself,
Yeah.
it starts falling apart. So
Yeah.
it's important to invest in yourself now. Like you said, pay for it now, pay for it later.
Yeah.
What's your choice,
Right.
So
Well, and speaking on motherhood, I know personally from postpartum is massive too, as far as mindset and mind games.
yes, it's
Like
hard.
one kid, I have three, we have 3 kiddos. So like one kid, you lose the weight right away. The other one, it takes a hot bit longer. Like the third was definitely the hardest for me as far as losing weight. And it was a mind game.
Yeah.
And like, so on like that aspect too, having you for some of our postpartum women, or
I
things
do
like
work
that,
with,
Yeah.
would be massive as well, because
Yeah.
it's a struggle. Postpartum is a struggle in general if you don't have the right people around you.
Mm-hmm.
And then add nutrition on top of it to get yourself back to the weight that you were when you were before baby.
Media,
Yes,
like the media
exactly,
says you should
right.
be. Yeah.
Like 2 weeks later, you should be fitting in those jeans.
Right.
Like that's not the
Right.
case.
Yes. So I do work with, pregnant women, postpartum, for the nutrition support, just also the other support, the mindset coaching, just if I say, gosh, it is so hard, they'll say, it is so hard. It's like they just need somebody to validate that for them, I mean, that's half of my job, just
Right.
validating the challenge of just taking care of yourself, because it does get easier, but it's a never-ending job.
Yes.
It never ends. You just you get up the next day. What's the healthy food I'm going to do to eat today? How can I move my body today? How can I take care of myself today? So it's never ending. So just validating that for people and just pushing them and motivating them, encouraging. I mean, that's my whole thing. There's never negativity. I'm
Yes.
always positive.
That's good.
I am not a Jillian Michaels. It's not like hardcore. Like I am really positive with it. So
I love that.
That's
validation is key when it comes to that stuff, because it is a mind game. And that's why I love everything about mindset nutrition. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
There's so let me ask you this: if there might be people listening to this that are in the know that it's like I got to make a change. So let's flip this and inspire some people that if you're worried about this, if you're telling yourself this, if you're using this as a crutch, let's have a conversation. What are some of those key things you would tell people? Say you're up on a stage in front of millions right now and you're like, if you know of anybody who wants to make a change, they don't know where to go, and you're hearing things like this, and this, like these are the keys to listen for. What would some of those be?
So kind of going back to what I said earlier, like I'm starting over on Monday, having a food funeral every weekend, so just packing it all in, overeating just to start over the next day. Just that like on and off, good or bad mentality. If I can't do it perfect, chicken and broccoli at every meal, then there's no point in doing it. That kind of talk, is just diet thinking, and that would be kind of the thing that I would say. Also, there's a lot of like reward mentality that I work on with clients. So, I got the kids to bed, I survived the day, I'm going to come downstairs and just eat all evening, like where's my sticker or my gold star? Like where's my treat, you know? And so that's a really big struggle.
Good.
Even people driving home from work, I stop at Quick Trip. I mean, I probably hear about Quick Trip 5 to 7 times.
Grab
a
a
week.
couple of taquitos.
Yeah, Quick Trip and Crumble Cookie, which is really
Quick Trip
close
now
by.
has barbecue.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's right, and the clients that I work with really get wrapped up in that, like they indulge in that, which that's how I was as a kid. Like, where do you want to go on your birthday, Erin? The buffet. I mean, I was just so like food was everything, and that's where my clients live, and we have to just kind of like take the air out of the balloon. Like, yes, it's important,
Right.
but living your life is more important. Like, that's your happiness, your joy, not what's on your plate. Like, that isn't everything, And so, if people are listening and they're like, oh gosh, I do that, I eat all evening, or, I just binge all weekend. I'm, in the weekend, like weight gainers club, and I start over on Monday, that would be the type of person that we really just have to interrupt that negative habit loop. We have to, figure out where this like crappy conditioning come from.
Right.
Start building up your self-esteem, because it's a confidence thing.
Sure.
You don't trust yourself. You don't trust yourself around food.
Yes.
And then we have to learn how to do it different.
Yeah. That's the trust word. That's like perfect, because that's what I was going to kind of lead into. And because I see it, in the chiropractic space as well, in healthcare itself, it's a lot of people know. They know they have a problem.
Right.
And it's not that they don't want to fix it. It's that they don't know who to trust.
True.
Because, we all know how media is going, and you already alluded to this, but we all know what media is saying and doing and portraying us. When it's like Victoria's Secret super skinny, and now it's Victoria's Secret both sides of the spectrum, and dancers this, and it's like, holy cow, how am I supposed to look and feel? McDonald's this, and all these convenience things, and we've got better beef, and it's just like, where do I go? Who do I trust anymore? And they might not even know people like you are available. But I really think that's, and even in healthcare, it's like, oh my gosh, especially after the past couple of years we've had, it's like, who do we trust when it comes to health in general, whether it's healthcare or nutritional healthcare? It's like, who do we trust? And that's the biggest thing I want people to know, is it's like, there are resources. I know some of you are listening in California, some of you are listening in Indiana. Like, there's resources. Erin might even have colleagues around the country that she can connect you with. I don't know. But
I do virtual too.
Yeah, and
There you go.
see?
So I have lots of people I've
Bingo.
never even met in person.
Yeah.
So
That's fabulous.
And so that trust factor is good too. And so just know, like, if a lot of people do know, it's like, man, I want to make a change. And if your next statement is, I just don't know where to go or who to trust, figure that out. Find it, because it's out there no matter what it is. We're talking nutrition today, but I don't care what it is.
Right.
yeah, there's always somebody out there that it's like literally their life's passion to learn about this, and people say to me all the time, I just don't have time to figure this out. And I said, right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
I did
here
that
for.
for you.
Like, I spend my life, let me figure it out.
Right.
If you have a quick question, you're struggling, don't spend hours Googling, like, text me and I will answer it for you. So I do provide my number. I'm really supportive. A health journey is so much work, in a good way, but you just need a lot of support. So I really fully support my people and invest myself into them. And
I like that.
yeah, so I just want them to know that I'm there for them, and I've been there. I know exactly what they're going through and what they're struggling with.
Yeah.
And they tell me all the time, are you reading my mind? Are you following me around? I'm like, no, I just understand.
Sorry for interrupting you, but what's kind of really cool to me and what I keep hearing is the instance of you're able to actually get on their level because you've been there. And that's huge for something like this, because, there are people that just do it as a job as far as like mindset coaching and also nutritional coaching. And they
the
do it as a
calorie
job,
count,
and they
and here you
don't
go.
understand the mind game behind it because they haven't been there.
Right.
Because they haven't had to struggle with that. So like you being able to level with people on it is massive, and I can see why you're not only successful, but you are such a kind human being and want
Thank
to
you.
help.
Yeah, I don't do it just because I think food is cool. Like, I've cried in the dressing room. I've had years of disordered eating. I've literally done it all except for weight loss surgery. It's the only, but I work with those people too who really want to work on their mindset, even though they had the surgery. I've worked with many who just want to get their mind right, because you don't get that support when you have a surgery.
No, and you still see the person in the mirror before the surgery.
Right, exactly.
So
yeah, I cry with them. We spin around in circles. We hug. I mean, they're my clients are the best people in the world. So I'm so blessed.
You've said journey a couple times. We say this a lot in the office. Health is a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely.
So how do we get a hold of you? Where can we find you?
Okay.
Where are you at?
Yeah, so my website is Mindset Nutrition STL, like stlouis.com.
Love that.
And that's my Instagram handle too, Mindset Nutrition STL. I'm really big on Instagram. because of being so visual, I just can't get down with TikTok that much yet. But I was graphic design before art teacher, so I just love designing it. So I post daily, sometimes multiple times a day, but you can go to my website if you want to book a mini session. You
Sure.
can just book right on the website and
Fabulous.
do that virtual. And but I'm local in St. Peter's area for this
the locals.
place. Yeah, for this place, for these locals. But yeah, and I'm accepting new clients, and it always seems to work out because, as I said, I phase my people out, so there's always room for more to.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Hope
you.
everybody has enjoyed.
fun.
Maybe a part 2, I think, will be on the horizon.
Yeah, that would be great.
Super grateful you were here. I hope you yourself enjoyed.
I did.
Erin Darling, everybody, Mindset Nutrition. Have a great day.
Thanks.